Just listen.
Lifestyle, you know, because you keep on doing it. It's cool. We live for the weekend, blah blah blah. It becomes like a habit very quick because it's so fun.
Rowan, thanks so much, man.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good, man. And we are at Lyndon Smith Boxing, huh?
Yes.
And
The Lyndon area. Yeah, my little gym here.
Yeah,
it's pretty power.
And you train people. You don't train yourself here, or you train people here?
I'll mess around here, do some added extras and stuff like that. But I basically just train people here, and then from time to time we'll all get together and do like weights and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
How big is your client base that you coach and stuff?
I have like just under 30 people. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Before lockdown, I think I was over 30. I think now it's just under 30, roughly.
And what happens when you go into camp and things?
It's all good. Just a week before the fight, things change. I might have to cancel, or generally, one of my teammates come here for me. You know, I just pay them to come here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when I saw you got into boxing, and I think you just had won your first bout, I was quite shocked because you and I growing up, you know, we were naughty and we weren't really focused on anything high performance. In grade 9 we almost got locked up for spray painting walls and things.
Yeah.
So I mean, to see you,
which you guys left me to paint all by myself. You know, I painted all those walls the next day.
We helped you buy the paints.
I don't remember that, so thank you for telling me that.
No, sorry about that. Yeah, so that was bad actually.
Yeah, that was funny.
I had to go to church. It was Sunday. That's why I didn't help you paint.
Yeah.
Gotta go apologize.
Yeah. I still get ripped off about that because I went and like spray painted my neighbor's wall and I put like my nickname on there. I was like, Rowie. My parents were like, what were you thinking? Obviously, we're going to drive past and know it was you.
It was you, yeah.
Yes, I was a chop, eh?
Yeah, properly. So, I mean, geez, your transition, because with all due respect, one of the least likely guys I expected to become a professional in the sport that we were friends with. So talk me through that path. Where did things change for you?
Yeah, well, boxing was always on the back of my mind, but because I was so naughty and stuff like that, and I knew how like a lot of people perceived me, I was also like a bit nervous because like once or twice I did like speak to one or two people, and because I was such a naughty kid, like they just laughed at me, you know, so they actually brought my confidence low. So it was always a little thing I kept in the back of my mind, you know, like, and my boxing coach Peter, I had him on Facebook and stuff from like a young age. I was hiding any picture that was going up on Facebook which he can see, you know.
Really?
So I was always like very smart in that sense. But it was always a dream at the back of my mind. I remember when I was 14 was the first time I prayed to become, that's funny because I'm not a heavyweight, but I prayed to become a heavyweight champion and stuff like that. So from young, it was my dream to do it, eh?
And those are, I mean, we were mates back then, and I didn't know that at all. So you kept that to yourself.
Yeah. I can't remember who I told. You would have known them. But I remember like one or two guys like having like, it was funny, like proper funny for them. So I was like, screw this. I'm not telling anyone. I'm going to show you.
Yeah. And then when did that training become really focused, high performance type training?
Only after like the age of 21, you know.
Okay.
So my father didn't want me to become a boxer, so it was quite delayed and stuff. I had to get a degree, and then he also thought I just wanted to become a sportsman, so he put me in like a little golf place for a little while. It was like 6 months, and that's after that I realized like I really, really want to follow boxing because I saw like how hard these golfers were working. Then I was like, screw this, I need because they all had the heart. So like it was really cool to be there and stuff, but if you don't have the heart, more than discipline and stuff, you can be disciplined for something you don't enjoy. If you don't have the heart for something, and I was watching this one lady just practice over and over and over in the beating sun in a bunker, and she made me realize my heart isn't there, I need to get into boxing. And then I spoke to my father. I was like, let me finish this degree and then you fund 1 year of boxing. And that's exactly what happened. And in that year, my training just escalated. I joined the pro guys and stuff like that. So when I was 21, I think it was, things got intense. Maybe even 22.
Okay. What degree did you get?
IT, software development, so
Okay.
like coding and stuff.
Yeah,
It was quite intense. Yeah,
No, I can imagine.
yeah.
And then, at what age do you win your first title?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, so I think I was 24,
Okay.
24, 25. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And now, what have you got? You South African champion.
South African champion and the All African champion just means like Africa as well, which is is quite cool. Yeah.
That's IBO.
IBO Africa, yeah. It's
Okay.
not you get like sister belts, they're called. So you get like the main belt, then you get like a sister belt,
Okay.
which is like just under it. So you have to win that before you can compete for like the big boy, or
Yeah.
before you put in their rankings and stuff like that, or regarded as a number one contender.
Yeah. So if we the boxing that we kind of see on TV with all the the famous guys like what is his name?
Canelo Alvarez.
and Manny Pacquiao, all those guys.
Yeah.
What's still got to happen for you to get to that kind of stage?
So I'm ranked, I think, number 35th in the world now. So now
Okay.
I'm getting close.
Yeah.
But for that, they're all top 10s, you know. Even it depends on what weight category, you know. So my weight category is super competitive, you know. Like if I speak to somebody who knows a little bit about boxing and name like the top 10 guys, he'll know all of them, you know.
Yeah.
But like in another weight category, it might only be the top 6 guys or top 5 guys.
Okay.
So yeah, top 10. But in most weight categories, you want to be top 8. Top 8, then people know you, you know. Yeah, so we're not far off. But 2 more years will make it rain.
Yeah, you're still young,
Yeah.
So how do they decide that? So you're 35th. Have you got to keep competing against guys above you to get up
Yes.
there?
So it's actually amazing, and I actually want to still find out the answers to it. But BoxRec, it's an international boxing recording or data company, right? They have people at every single fight around the world. I don't know
Really?
how they do it. I don't know if they also watch people on TV, but they must have
Yeah.
a lot of employees, like, or just a shitload of boxing pugilists or boxing lovers, you know?
Yeah.
So I think like one guy must just watch so much boxing, and then they have maybe like 1,000 or 100 of those guys, you know?
Yeah.
So every single fight is recorded on BoxRec throughout the world, especially if it's a legal sanctioned fight. You know, some like backdoor underground stuff is not like legal or sanctioned, you know. But if it's proper like sanctioned bout, those guys have it on record. So you just have to keep on fighting, and it depends the people you fight, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't have all the answers to.
Yeah. So they kind of run all of that type of stuff in the rankings and
Yes. And then BoxRec is like where the average person, you can go BoxRec and search any boxer.
Okay.
Even boxers from the 70s, they have millions of boxers on there.
Yeah.
Boxers who had one fight and never fought again.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much data they have.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And you unbeaten at the moment, eh? You got a 12-0 record.
Yes, 12-0.
And how much does that play into your mind in terms of pressure? Is that something you try to keep, or is that not really the point of it?
It's not a pressure thing, you know. In boxing, is unfortunately a sport you don't want to lose in.
Yeah.
Any combat sport, you don't want to really lose in, because like it's beating on top of the loss, you know.
Yeah.
But it does help, you know. Like Jordan Peterson has this thing, like if you keep on winning, you keep a winning mentality, you know. So I think that's like the coolest thing, and I can feel that, you know. If you keep on winning, you get this winning mentality. I haven't felt it, and I don't want to feel it. But I've seen with one or two guys, when they have that loss, they start to doubt and think about the loss a lot more. You know, you know sports psychology and stuff like that. The losing part of the game comes into everyone, you know. You learn like very quickly that you are your toughest opponents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you overcome all those thoughts and realize that this is actually extremely normal and stuff like that, yeah, the losing parts you just got to block out, you know.
Yeah.
It's a part you shouldn't think about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how much thought do you put into the mental side of boxing and the psychological side of that moment facing an opponent? You know, it's quite a what is the word I'm looking for?
Daunting.
It's daunting, but it's very like primal in the sense that it's you against another guy going to war. but then there's also a lot of technique and skill involved.
Yeah.
So how much attention do you pay to that mental side?
Yeah. They say boxing is the second biggest mental sport after tennis. Tennis is surprisingly 90% mental. They say 10% physical. Boxing, they say, is 80% mental, 20% physical. So I was a chop in the beginning, you know, and I just learned about the mental side through practice, you know. Then it was only like when I started, just after the SA title, I won the SA title, I started seeing like sports psychologists and stuff. And then that exact word you use, priming, started learning how to like prime yourself before a fight, because people don't realize you get like repeated thoughts. It's all a pattern, you know. Your body goes through the same thing, your mind goes through the same thing, you know, and you actually just got to grasp it. So I actually learned a lot by just doing it, going into the deep end. And then like 5 fights in, I was like, okay, this is normal. This happened last time. And I would like write things down like from time to time, you know? And like with weight cuts and nutrition and stuff, it helps just to jot a few things down and stuff. So when you go back and read it and you're like, hey, I felt like this the last time. It's like, this is normal. And then you beat all those fears. So like, I also, you learn real quickly, like 2 fights in, after your first fight even, I had so many fears and so many worries and stuff, and not one of them happened. It's like my brain just made up anything it could. And the second time it did it as well, just not to the extent. The first time was obviously the roughest, you know. And then you just learn, like your brain comes up with things which doesn't come true, you know. So you also beat that, and you learn not to trust your own brain, which is kind of interesting.
Because I mean, we tell ourselves stories based on our emotions and things. And when you start believing those stories is when you change your behavior or the behavioral outcome, you know? So it sounds like what you're saying is exactly that. You've just become aware of what is true and what is just lies your brain's telling yourself.
You know what else is interesting as well? With the weight cuts, this took me long to learn. You kind of put yourself, like you're depriving your body of like everything it needs. So, you know, like when you're hungry, you're dehydrated and stuff, you go into a negative frame of mind, which also plays an even bigger role on the whole mental side of things, you know. So that was also interesting. It took me long to realize, like, especially like the last 2 days just before weigh-in, you know, you get like proper like, why the hell am I doing this?
Oh, really?
You know,
How much weight do you have to cut before you?
I do like 10 kgs from like the start of camp till like weigh-in. So in 2 months I'll drop like 10 kgs.
So what do you weigh at the moment?
Like 86, 87. Fight at 76. Cool. So it's a bit lockdown made it like 1 or 2 kgs more than usual, eh?
When do you start? Your next fight, you said it's 12th December.
12th December. So I'm gonna start now, eh?
Cool.
I've been obviously putting in little bits of work here and there, but not to the extent I can, you know. So that's still coming.
And if you've just finished a fight, do you go into a period of just letting go, or do you always keep your level of training relatively high?
So it's an interesting question. My boxing coach doesn't really believe in rest. He's old school. He's very old school. So these days, after when I was fighting 6 rounds in the beginning, so that was like my first 6 fights, he never gave me any rest, so I just carried on and stuff like that. Now, like with 12 rounds, 10 rounds and stuff, it's quite taxing on the body. So like he'll give me like a few days a week, you know. If like my body's sore, you know, I know if I've torn something with bruising and stuff like that, because it happens, you know. You don't feel much with adrenaline the next couple of days. Like I tore my bicep once and didn't even feel anything, or let me not say I tore my bicep, but my whole arm was bruised, you know. So I tore something, like it was black. So that day, at that time, I took like 2 weeks off, you know. So if something's niggly and stuff like that, I might ask for an extra week, you know. But on average, 2 weeks max.
And that's purely physical. You're not taking a mental break as well, consciously, or are you actually trying to get away from it mentally?
Mentally, I'm quite aware of mental relaxation and stuff. So I'll try and stay away from like social media a little bit and stuff, cell phones and stuff. But generally you would try and get away, even if it's just for like 3 days, even if you just go somewhere close by, like the Pilansberg or something. You know, that mental switching off you need to do. But your brain's amazing. You only need to do that for like 3 days. You'll be sweet. It would be better if you can get it for more, but you definitely want like a minimum of 3 days, just full relaxation out of your usuals and stuff like that.
So with boxing, obviously, as you said, it's the second most mental sport. Having worked with some tennis players, golf players, UFC or EFC fighters and things, I struggle to believe that tennis is more mental, maybe strategically.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of needing mental resilience, obviously
Yeah.
the fighting game comes in. And with boxing, though, do you think that's something that you were born with or something you've learned, that mental strength of facing off with an opponent?
No, anything can be taught, eh? So, yeah, when I first walked into the gym to now, it's completely different people. Like, what would bug me 4 years ago was like, now I'd look at that person and be like, it's way too soft, way too sensitive. And now, like, it's really hard to like bug me, you know.
Yeah.
I can't quite explain it, but you just become a bit tougher overall, you know. So mental toughness can definitely be taught, you know. Anything where you get put into the deep end, survive. Put into the deep end, survive. You come out stronger every single time, you know.
Yeah. But I think the real question is, does anyone that gets put into the deep end survive, or do some people just crumble and fail?
Yeah, that's a great question, eh? Yeah, some people, you know, you just assume everyone can do it,
Yeah.
but you spot on, eh? Some people, and there's different forms of escapes, they call it, you know.
Yeah.
So either they crash or whatever, they just don't quite handle it as well. Or there's different forms of escaping, like where you escape from the real world. You drink, drugs, play games. Play games is a big one, you know. You just go into your own world with gaming.
And social media and things as well, of course.
Yeah, escapes.
Yeah. And what keeps you what keeps you motivated in terms of every morning wake up, maybe you don't have a fight, especially during lockdown, for a long time. What keeps you getting up and training and things?
For me, it's a weird one. I just know that there's people out there who are still putting in the work and training hard and stuff. So I always think, even if I'm training super hard, I always think there's someone training harder.
Okay.
So that's my fuel, you know. I know it sounds stupid and stuff, but there's some people putting in lots of hours. If you think about it that way, if someone else putting in like 6 hours a day, and we put 6 hours 20, you know, one day you might even feel like pumped up and put in like a full 8 hours, you know. So yeah, it depends. That's what fuels me.
Yeah. Okay. So you've put in 8 hours in a day of training.
Yo, I've most probably exceeded that, eh?
Oh,
Easy. Yeah, Peter's boxing sessions on average are about 2 hours.
Okay.
I've easy had a gym session of 2 hours, and I've trained 4 hours in a day. Even if you play a squash game or something, it's an added hour. I've most probably gone over 8 once or twice. Easy.
Jeepers.
I think. Yeah.
What do you do other than boxing? How do you keep yourself busy?
So I have this boxing gym and stuff like that, which keeps me busy. Maybe like on average 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day. And then other than that, there's always one or two things to do with it, like the people I hang around with and stuff like that. Everybody's got something to do. You'll jump in, join them.
Yeah.
Boxing as well. We do a lot of training and stuff. So it's the boxing training, it's running, it's the weights. So yeah, I'll run about 4 times a week. I'll box like 5 times a week on average, and weights minimum of like 2 a week, you know. So you'll be surprised. It takes up a lot of time, just the training on its own, you know.
Yeah.
And then this gym keeps me busy, and then I like to chill if I get the time, hey? Chill and cooking. I enjoy cooking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you still play golf and those things, or have you stopped?
I've played a little bit, but after that golf academy, I kind of was a bit bitter towards golf. So I took like 5 years of not playing.
Okay.
But I think I've played like 4 times in like the last 3 months, you know? So like recently the biters, what's it called? When it bites you again, golf's bit me again.
Yeah. And squash, you said you also play?
A bit from time to time, yeah. With this whole lockdown and stuff like that, they've been strict on me with membership and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, actually I must join. It's not expensive at all. I've just been lazy. Usually I would go there and you pay like $50 from time to time when you wanted to play, you know?
Yeah.
Play Gary Squash Club or Randburg,
yeah. No, I just find it interesting because obviously a level of obsession needs to be there if you're going to be a professional in a sport, because it takes 4, 5, 6 hours a day of training. So I was just interested, do you do other types of sports and activities as well to balance it out? Or
it's referred to as like active recovery. Okay, squash is a bad example, but I'll play tennis. I played tennis a few times, you know, so like on a Sunday or Saturday, even on a Sunday, it's like a rest day. You play 2 games of tennis, and I know it's like training and stuff, but it's not like your usual training.
Yeah.
So it's like an active recovery day, or hiking, or just doing stuff, even walking, like trying to get on your watch, getting over like 10,000 steps, that might be like a tiny little goal. Small things, but rest is very important as well, hey? Just to bring the body back to normal. But yeah, squash is a proper workout, especially if you're playing someone good,
Yeah. Do you implement any mental training like meditation or mindfulness and things, or not really?
Yeah, a little bit. So like 2 weeks before, we will like Pete will do like this meditation thing with us. I can't remember how long it lasts. It's been so long since I've last fought.
Is that your coach? Sorry.
Yes. So about like a 20-minute little meditation thing, just to block everything else out and just focus on fighting.
Yeah.
And as the coach, the things he wants us to focus more on and hone in on. So yeah, we do a bit of that. Mental recovery as well, like even if it's just like a 20-minute nap where you don't fall asleep, but no cell phones, no TV. And that's also important to you. People don't realize you might get the physical rest, but mental rest with all the distractions going on, I think mental rest is the biggest one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you think it's important for a coach to be tuned into the mind of his athletes?
Yeah, I think, I don't know about all sports, but I'm pretty sure it's like this, but you tell your boxing coach like everything, like there's no secrets, which is pretty cool. Like you'll talk about the most obscure things ever. Yeah, boxing, teammates, I think in general is like the tightest thing you get, just on an openness, you're extremely open so that everybody can understand how you're feeling, what you like, what you don't like, what makes you irritable, makes you grumpy, so yeah, my boxing coach in particular knows a lot about me, so I think it is quite important.
Yeah. Who's in your kind of camp, in your team? What do you have? Do you have a nutritionist and all those things, or how does that work?
So we've learned a lot about nutrition throughout. Peter's wife's like #1 in Africa and like top 50 in the world for Herbalife.
Okay.
So her alone, like her nutrition is pretty remarkable. So we often see Peter's wife quite a lot,
Yeah.
And we've also gone and messed around with dietitians and stuff like that. But we've learned a lot, When you're an athlete, you eat this and then you go and train, you feel bad, So like if I eat bread and I go train, it feels like something stuck in my stomach. It doesn't feel like it's digested.
Yeah.
Bread's like a common one for me, but you could maybe eat bread. So there's also like things that you have to learn about your own body.
Yeah.
So there's also been a lot of trial and errors, So we also kind of know. And then what else did you say? Nutritionist, then?
Yeah. What does your camp look like? How many guys are involved?
And then we've got Nina, the massage lady. So the massage is important. Nina is pretty remarkable. Then it's Peter, and I see a sports psychologist on my own basis,
Okay,
and I'm pretty sure like everyone else does from time to time. But that a lot of people don't speak about. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it really. It's a conditioning coach, massage therapist, Peter the boxing coach. Nutrition, we kind of all know. We all kind of know what we need to eat, in a simple terms. It needs to be like chickens and salads and protein, a bit of mixture, colorful plates, a mixture of all the macronutrients and stuff like that. Yeah.
And the weight cuts and the refueling of the weight cut, you also do yourself?
Yeah, but there's so much science and stuff which has gone behind that. So boxing has been doing weight cuts for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like, let me not say hundreds of years, but a long time, since like the 70s at least. So yeah, 100 of years of big exaggeration. I doubt they cut back then.
Maybe.
But yeah, there's huge science which has gone into that, hey?
Yeah.
Like massive science. And everything I've ever read about it, the people who write the articles and the scientists who done it, they miss out one huge thing. They don't put their body through it. So they say this is what happens. They read graphs and stuff. But what I've noticed with weight cuts and stuff, the first time, if it was a graph, like I was right at the bottom, the next time my body knew what I was doing. It even started to hold water before I cut the water. And the third time, to another level, full time to another level. Your body is a remarkable thing, which learns a lot about you.
So it's adapting your body.
Your body adapts. Your body knows exactly what to do. Like even now, my body will hold more water than you because my body's scared that I'm gonna take water away from it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like really interesting.
Yeah. So does the weight cut get harder or easier as you get older?
It's gotten a little bit harder because I've obviously gotten bigger. You know, my muscles are growing slowly and stuff like that. So you get a bit bigger with obviously you boxing and training for like 3-4 years. It's impossible not to gain like 2 kgs, a kg of muscle in that time, you know?
Yeah.
So it gets a little bit harder. Just means you have to be more disciplined, which makes it harder. But the hard part isn't cutting weight. It's like actually the whole refueling and stuff like that, because you're still going to go fight. So you have to be at your at your best still, you know, like where a lot of people cut weight and stuff and they don't need their body to perform, you know. We need the whole rehydration process crazy. Like after weigh-in, you only eat food like 2 hours afterwards because there's so much of a process which goes on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know with fasting as well, if you break like a 3-day fast that some people do, you can't just go with big amounts of food straight away. You've got to start slow with a bit of electrolytes and whatever and build your body back into eating.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's basically what you were saying now.
Kind of, yeah. It's exactly it. Yeah, you can't just stuff your body, you know, your body hasn't received food. Yeah, it's actually spot on, you know. You need to learn how to like break down. You have to get your body ready for food. Because we don't like starve ourselves. We still eat, but we eat like very small and like very little calories and nutrients and stuff like that, you know.
Are you at 100% when you're fighting then? Or do you think without a weight cut you'd be fresher?
I think without a weight cut, I think there is still definitely, you put your body, you starve your body a bit, you know. So I definitely think there is a 10%, 5%. Let's go with 10%, you know. Maybe I'm just trying to be lenient because that's my own sport and, you know, I'd like to lie to myself here. But let's go with 10%, you know. But also in the same sense, when we train and stuff like that, we never at 100%, you know. Even when Monday comes, the Sunday felt way too short, you know. Then it's Monday till Saturday, you know. Your last sparring session's on Saturday, and generally like how it starts is like Tuesday you might do 8 rounds, Thursday you do 10 rounds, Saturday you do 12 rounds, you know. So at the same sense, we never at 100%. So we actually get more adapted or adjust to the situation that you're never at 100%. And to function on that, you know.
The sacrifices that you make, are they worth it so far? You know, because there's obviously the physical sacrifice. You're healthy and you're fit, but there's a lot of strain. But more specifically, the sacrifices like giving up some time with friends and taking part in some of the things that they would be doing.
Yeah.
Even if it's having a drink or a smoke or whatever. Do you feel sometimes... Do you question if those sacrifices are worth it?
Yeah, that's been the hardest one for me, you know. Just because like all my friends, you'll know a few of them. A lot of them like to drink, like to smoke and stuff like that. And the cigarette smoke like really affects me, you know. Like if I go into training the next day, my nose will be blocked and stuff like that. If I'm around cigarette smoke and like if I'm sparring and somebody hits my nose, it bleeds a lot quicker than it ever would if I was like with a whole bunch of friends where everyone's smoking and stuff. And as an athlete, unfortunately, you do need to take yourself away from that lifestyle, you know, because you keep on doing it. It's cool. We live for the weekend, blah, blah, blah. It becomes like a habit very quick because it's so fun, you know. And it also makes you forget about like other things like, hey, let's drink. It's that cool, you know. So not just the drinking part. I miss seeing like a lot of my friends. I have definitely distanced myself. And you've asked me that question at the wrong time because this lockdown hasn't been good for like competing and stuff like that. You know, if it was prior to this lockdown, I would have answered 100% yes. But like, you know, in lockdown with all this time, I've had to think to myself, I'm like, shit, man, I should have spent a bit more time with them, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've got to obviously make whatever you've sacrificed worth it one day when you look back and you go, well, despite not having as much time or fun as we want to call it with friends, I've achieved a lot and I've changed people's lives with what I've done and things. Is that part of your mindset? Do you think like that or not really?
Yeah. I don't want to just fight for myself. I want to be one of those guys that come back and like just help the country in a whole, you know. So I want to do so well I can help the country in a whole and like use my boxing in a form to like get into maybe like a leadership role or something,
Yeah.
just help this country in a way where like people can trust this person to come and say like, hey, let's maybe try and do things like this. So I've traveled, seen countries, or through boxing I'm going to travel and see countries,
Yeah.
this is how other countries do it, maybe try and implement it. Yeah, but yeah, before this lockdown I would have definitely enjoyed the sacrifices I've made,
Yeah.
because I was going to Germany, I was going to be fighting for the Euros and everything like
Yes.
that, so I was like 1-2 fights away from like really living life nicely,
Yeah. Your fight that was cancelled, is that done? Is it postponed or is it cancelled?
It's postponed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you might still do it.
Yeah. I think a lot has come. I spoke to the promoter yesterday when we had to do this whole COVID tests and stuff. So we have to get tested like every 2-3 weeks now for our fight in December.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's getting pretty interesting. So I saw him and he said plans have maybe changed a bit. He says, this was his exact words, it's funny how things work for the better sometimes, because overseas fighters demand such high purses. It's forced the promoters to look elsewhere, because the money and stuff hasn't quite been the same. So let's say you one of those Canelo Alvarez and stuff who's expecting $70 million a fight, okay, we can pay you, we'll sacrifice it because you bring in that many people, but then the people under you who want $4 million a fight, we can't afford them anymore.
Yeah.
So let's go to places like South Africa, where if we give them $50,000, they will go through the roof. It's not like $200,000, which would on minimum was what those guys are requiring.
Wow. Yeah.
So a lot of promoters have looked elsewhere, and Ronnie Berman said it looks like Kevin Lerena is going to be going off to Australia in February, and I'll be with him most probably.
Okay.
So there's definitely international places gonna come off when everything's back to normal.
Yeah, that's very cool though.
Yeah.
You and Kevin are good mates. You train together and things though.
Yeah. Become good mates. Like I said, teammates, you learn a lot about the other person, you know. Sometimes I think he knows too much about me, and I must probably know too much about him, Yeah.
How's he? What's his next step? Because he's a little bit further up the chain than you are at the moment. Am I right?
A lot, yeah.
Right.
So he's worldwide top 10 in the world, top 5 in the world in most boxing categories. Remember, like I said, in certain divisions, you need to be like top 8. I was playing it safe. So his division's kind of rough because there's not that much competition. So in Kevin, you need to be like top 4. Because there was Alexander Usyk who moved up to heavyweights. There's such a fine line between cruiserweights and heavyweights that the guys move up all the time, So a lot of the good cruiserweights have gone up to heavyweight. But Kevin's done really well. Unfortunately for Kevin, he's probably going to have to go up to the heavyweights just because for those mega fights, there's maybe like 1 or 2 guys in the cruiserweight division where there can be a mega fight, But in the heavyweights, he can make something huge.
Yeah.
And Kevin's future is all international from here on out. So I was going to have this last one regardless of my prior plans. I was meant to go to Germany, then fight this guy I'm going to fight, I'm ranked number 1 in South Africa, but in a lot of people's minds, he is number 1. Even in my mind, I need to beat him to properly earn it, I agree.
What's his name?
Reino Liebenberg. He's big in the Afrikaans community and stuff, especially in the West Rand.
Yeah.
So that was always the plan. Once I'm done with Reino, I was done in South Africa. So I still need to get through this hurdle. Very tough fight. And then I won't be on Kevin's level, but at least I'll be on the international train, which is a lot better. It's cool,
Yeah. Where's your fight happening with Reino?
It's at Emperor's Palace, but no spectators in sports this year. So it's interesting. We're getting isolated 2 weeks before. We have to stay at Emperor's and possibly 2 weeks afterwards.
Oh, wow.
How interesting is that, eh?
Even if you pass the test.
Yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot of grey areas for after, but I know for a fact we stay in there 2 weeks before.
Creating a bubble of some sort.
Yeah.
Jeez, the world's been weird, eh?
It has been weird.
Wow, but I'm glad you can at least fight for a change.
Yeah.
No.
Well, hopefully, so there is always that worry that we're going to another lockdown, There's a lot of those rumors going around, so we need to see our numbers still.
Yeah. Are you interested in MMA as well, or just boxing?
So I have a guy who's in my teammate. His name is Boyd Allen, and he's done really well in the EFC, and he has his own gym, and they've got judo, wrestling, a whole bunch of it. So I do mess with him from time to time, because the way boxing and the combat sports has gone, a lot of boxers, UFC fighters have gone over to boxing, you know.
Yes.
So let's say I make it big, and then one day they offer you like $50 million to go to the UFC.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least I've been doing a little bit of the work, you know, because
Yeah, yeah, of course.
with wrestling and stuff, it helps the sooner you start, you know. It's all about experience, you know.
Yes, yeah.
So let's say 4 years down the line, then I only start, you know. So now I'm not doing a lot, but like every Friday, Boyd and I will mess around and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah.
So I'm doing a little bit, you know. And
Yeah.
Peter's always made us every Friday. He's always made us elbow kick
Oh, really?
and stuff every Friday. So
Yeah,
it's called
yeah.
Street Fight Day.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
it's always been part of his training and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think it's muscle memory, and you get too much in your comfort zone, just using your hands and stuff. So he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This round kicks only. This round hands and feet. This round, and then it like really stuffs you up as a
Yeah.
boxer. You know, it's same as if you come from MMA into boxing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
doing your hands, it really stuffs you up. Same for us. If we go from boxing into the kicking and stuff, it like stuffs us up because it's not what our body is used to.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting because with the golfers, what I've seen coaches do is they sometimes let them hit left-handed if they're right-handed, or vice versa, just to get that repetitive muscle memory, just to wake up the brain a bit, because they go into that almost a mentally sleeping zone
Yeah,
where it's just like repetition.
yeah.
Change it around, and your brain has got to start thinking again and things.
Wow, that's very interesting, eh?
Just for like 10 balls, but it just
Because I can find myself doing that from time to time. I know exactly what you meant with mental sleep. Because sometimes we do like 15 rounds over and over and over and over. Boxing's a lot of repetition, you know.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson used to say the number one thing he hated about boxing was the constant repetition.
oh yeah.
And like sometimes when you're doing 15 rounds, 15 times 3, 45 minutes, you know, in that 45 minutes, you can't help but sometimes 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot, okay?
Yeah.
5 minutes, like
Yeah.
falling asleep, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. You've made me think, how can I wake myself up?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Peter seems to know how with
Yeah,
bringing in the kickboxing style stuff.
yeah, he's quite good.
Yeah. So would you ever go across to MMA given or UFC given the opportunity or not?
Only in the future if I make it big
Yeah.
in boxing and then they offer me a lot of money.
Okay.
I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Boyd Allen's gym? Where does that sit?
That's in Morningside, Bryanston. Yeah, it's a new gym. It's called Apex.
Oh,
Very
is he
nice
with
gym.
Apex. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the exact partnership and stuff, but he's definitely a partner in Apex Gym.
Okay. They've just opened the new one, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the one I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
there by Paul's off or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were in Bryanston there by opposite the Morningside. So I don't know the exact location of this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's still Morningside area though.
I was chatting to one of the guys on Facebook. I can't remember because when I moved here, I was doing jiu-jitsu in Cape Town and tried to find a place this side. But then lockdown happened. So I wanted to know when they open and things. And then he was just telling me the new one and things.
They're open. You
Yeah,
should go there.
Yeah, yeah. I saw they open now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably it's been spoken of as one of the best
Yeah.
in this side of the world. So
I'm big fans of the people who are behind that gym and stuff like that. I think they're great people.
yeah,
And I think that gym's very busy, so that speaks volumes. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
by
yeah.
far, I don't know too much about the jiu-jitsu world and stuff like that, so it's quite hard for me to comment. But I would say that they are definitely the best.
yeah, yeah.
I don't even doubt it. I know for a fact that Richard Kwan and Boyd and them are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best in that
Yeah, without
side
a
of the
doubt.
world,
Yeah, yeah.
in our country. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Kwan, I'm going to try get him on the show because I admire what that guy's done in the MMA world. I think he's very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that he's involved there as well. I didn't, of course.
So
yeah.
that's why it's a bit confusing, because I know it on like another level, you know, there's also a guy called Chef Norman Vessels. He owns Fight Fit Militia.
Yeah.
And they also all attached together, but there's
That's
Apex
in
Gym.
Sunninghill or somewhere.
I think so,
Yeah.
yes. When I actually used to go to Fight Fit Militia when I was like 13. So it's
Oh,
been
really?
around for years.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I went, it was in Rivonia. So
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know where it is currently. Yeah.
That's where Don Madge trains, or used to, I
Yes,
don't know.
yes. No. Don Madge is affiliated there for sure.
Yeah.
Don Madge also has a piece, but Don Madge also has his own gym in Cape Town
Town,
called
yeah.
Mad Fits,
Mm.
MMA Fit or something,
Yeah,
Mad
yeah.
Fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that actually. It's been interesting to see how the combat sports have grown in South Africa. You know, boxing and MMA.
Yeah.
It's just grown exponentially. Maybe because it's shown on TV more often now. Or I don't know what it is, but people seem to love these sports. Have you seen an increase in that, like supporter base and things?
Definitely. So I think South Africa has always had lovers. We are a fighting nation. You can go anywhere and get into a fight. No lies. There's no place that you could take a foreigner, right? A foreigner says to you, please take me somewhere where you can guarantee me there won't be a fight. You can't, it's a luck of the draw, there might be one or two safer places, but even there, something could happen. South Africans are a fighting nation. Even if I go out, I can see when the Oaks get drunk and they're with a bunch of friends, they're watching me and stuff, they're thinking it, you know?
Yeah.
But, so I wouldn't say that it's grown. We've always been lovers of fighting. South Africans, all our cultures mixed together, loving or fighting, whatever you want to say. But I think with one or two names doing a bit better, like Kevin, for example, showing like a lot of boxers, hey, you can actually do well in the sport, you can make money in the sport. Let me give it a bash. Then on the EFC MMA fights, a few guys going over to UFC for the first time. Don Mash being the first one to win. We had, I think Ruan Potts went over to the UFC. I know Gareth McLaren, I forget Soldier Boy, I forget his surname. And I know Darren Daniel went over to Japan or Hong Kong. Darren Daniel was one of the first. He was flipping good. But Don Mash was the first person to win. So now it's like showing people, hey, this can be done. Then there's like one or two guys underneath them that are also starting to do well. People are like in the beginning, because South Africans are hard to get their support, right? Picture rugby. They love rugby, they hate rugby. Love rugby, hate rugby.
You have
so
to win,
with boxing, it's similar, but you get good fans, great fans, which get behind you, but you also get fans which you have to prove wrong. Fans which are like, hey, this guy's not going to make it, blah, blah, blah. Like in my case, too much of a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. Not going to make it. Okay, prove them wrong. Then they jump on board with you forever. Then you just got to keep proving people wrong. And then you get some people in South Africa which just don't like you. You know, you just got to deal with it. No sportsman's 100% loved.
Yeah, one weird thing with South Africans is they always see our stars as lesser than the world stars. So I remember when Don Madge just won, the way he won his second fight was quite a tactical fight. There wasn't a lot of action, let's put it that way. He was wrestling against the cage and whatever, and people were chirping him, like, so South Africans were chirping him, and that he's an average fighter and that he does, like, he's never going to make it just because he didn't go and knock the guy out. You know what I mean? And I think we always think South Africans aren't as good as the Americans or the Europeans or whatever. And it takes a lot for you to prove them wrong and be like, well, I can be a world champion.
Yeah. Well, the odds are, okay, in their defense, I'll go to my thing as well. In their defense, the competition levels overseas are way, way bigger. You know, like, for example, the Apex gym, there's like 100 people going there. It's the busiest jiu-jitsu gym in South Africa. In the States, there's 1,000 gyms with 10 times the amount of people. There's just that much competition. You and I competing against one another. I learn lots from you. You learn lots from me. Okay, now we in South Africa, there's no one else after you and I. Overseas, there's you and there's 50 guys. There's a line going outside, you know. So that competition level does help them, you know. So we actually do need to work a little bit harder to prove them wrong. But when we can prove them wrong and we can do it, you know, the odds are just, we're from Africa, you know, we don't load shedding a whole bunch of stuff, you know, we don't have the odds in our favor. We just have to prove them wrong. But going to the actual, my thoughts, South Africans, some of them can be like the worst supporters ever, you know, and I actually make a special point. Any South African doing well, I give full credit. I'll send them a message. I'll support them if I can. I'll go and watch them. Ryan Gibbons is in the Tour de France at the moment. No one's really. I don't hear him on the radio and stuff like that.
No.
He should be on the radio, man. He's a youngster. He's a year younger than you and I. He's turning 26 this year, or if not 26. He's in the Tour de France for the first time, doing well. You know, I've seen him. I've been watching a bit. First time I've ever watched Tour de France because he's in it now. And we've had a few guys that I've never known of. This downhill mountain biking guy, Greg Minnaar or whatever.
He's been champion for years.
Yeah, he's won. I was watching this thing on Red Bull TV. He's won 21 world world titles or world
Yeah,
cups or something. And like we all knew about him like 2 years ago, winning 3 years ago, but 21, he's been going
Yeah.
at it for years. He's 37,
Yeah,
38.
yeah.
Okay, Brad Binder getting a lot of support and stuff. That has
Yeah,
power.
that's good. Yeah.
But lots of South Africans need a bit more support than they get, you know, which
Yeah, yeah.
is just South Africans. I think South Africans are quite
Because-
rough and tough. You have to prove them wrong
Yeah.
before they get behind you, and that's it, really.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, because even Wade van Niekerk, before he won the Olympic, world record gold medal, he was winning world champs, and he was slaying guys at the Diamond League. But no one actually knew about him until he set the world record.
Yeah.
And even now, when you go this is maybe a bad metric, but you go into Instagram, and he's got let's say he's got 800,000 followers. Usain Bolt has 50 million.
Yeah.
It's like, why? How does he get there?
Yeah.
So I think South Africans are tough as fans.
Yeah. So it's media and marketing exposure, you know. So Usain Bolt's African, right? So he proved himself to be the best ever, then exploded, right? So he's a bad example. But
Fair enough.
I think like anyone overseas, for example, if you in the Olympics, I know the Russians pay them 10,000 euros a month just to be in the Olympics, right? If you're competing for our country, that's it. That's minimum, right? Better you are, the more you get. You know, here we don't get, and then obviously they blow you up over there. So let's say you go into the Olympics for wrestling, you're on all the billboards in the very popular wrestling areas. You're on TV adverts 24/7. Yeah, so marketing and stuff's huge over there. Over here, it's a bit more, I think, just a bit more relaxed, you know. I don't know. They don't jump on it.
We stick to rugby. Every advert's always our rugby players or our cricket players. We very seldom get into the individual sports like athletics, boxing.
Yeah.
When we're using, I mean, Siya Kolisi is promoting every company there is at the moment.
Yeah, him and Casa Semenya, they're the two biggest names in our country at the moment.
For sure, yeah. But I mean, guys like Kevin Lorena, who's also done amazing things, isn't getting that same exposure and that same marketing and media opportunities.
Yeah.
Even the brands that they associate with them are smaller brands compared to Samsung and all those guys that are with Sia and them.
Yeah. It's unfortunate as well. There's a bit of politics behind every ad and everything, you know, which needs to be taken into consideration. But even behind that, I just don't think South Africans realize the power of marketing. You know, I think the guys which use Sia and Casa Semenya, for example, even Wade van Niekerk, he's a Discovery's picture boy.
Yeah.
South Africans, I don't think realize the power of marketing. And as a sportsman, I'm slowly starting to see it. It's like, wow, these days I get given so many things for free. And people even send me a message, hey, would you and I don't even have the biggest following, you know. It should be more. I always get in trouble that I don't jump on my social media and stuff because it is important these days. But from what I've seen on the international levels and what I've heard from people going to America and stuff like that, there's commercials, they call it overseas, 24/7, you know, marketing's huge, you know. You don't realize it, but if every single day I show you, McDonald's has mastered it. McDonald's doesn't put it right in your face. They put it just to the side there. So every single day I put a little McDonald's sign here, and you and I in the office, you know. It might take a month, but eventually you'll get McDonald's. I'm sure of it. One day you'll just be stuff it.
You won't even know why you want it, but it's because it's been placed.
It's crazy.
Have you got plans to up your media coverage and marketing on social media?
I'm gonna start paying someone to do it now. I just want to find someone good, because often, no disrespect to them, they're doing what they've been told, or they're doing what they know is best, you know. But unfortunately, I come from a camp where Peter doesn't want to share too many secrets. He doesn't want too many videos and stuff like that. So a lot of the guys clash with me because I'm like, hey, I don't want to do that. So now I've started telling them from the get-go, hey, this is the kind of things I can't do. So it's working a bit better. But the marketing guys, they know what will get you far and stuff. And unfortunately, one or two of things clash with Peter Smith's training and stuff like that. And unfortunately, that's my number one goal. I don't want anything coming in. What he says goes. And so, I need to find also a good one, you know. So let's say you want a job, you need to send out a good CV, you know. So a good one, which will also correspond with everything.
Yes.
I can't give you an example, but they love videos. Videos get you exposure, doing this, doing that. You know, and with boxing, like Peter always says, you never saw what Mike Tyson did when he was the best. Floyd Mayweather is another great example. Floyd Mayweather has one video, and he's just throwing one punch. The whole video is called the jab, where he shows actually what he's doing.
Really?
Every single one of Floyd Mayweather's, all that pitter-patter stuff is not what he does behind the scenes.
Yes.
Even this Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez does a bit more than the others, but that's not what Canelo Alvarez does. If you watch Canelo Alvarez fight, he never puts his hand down. Go watch every single one of his videos. His hands are down. So it's also, like, I get what Peter's saying, and also because I'm in the sports, I see it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm looking for someone now who's cool, who's good.
Who's going to earn it. Yeah. I wonder if you should look international or local. That's also a tough one, huh?
Yeah, but I have to go local. Those guys with the currency rate of exchange, and also, like I was saying earlier, I'm supporting South Africans, you know?
Yes, for sure.
I mean, guys, I've heard South Africans could do it, but because of the overseas people being better, they get them in, you know, at triple the rates.
Yes.
We have some great people, I'm sure.
For sure,
of it.
yeah, for sure. Have you got a manager that kind of runs your stuff for you, or do you do that by yourself?
No, so Peter's trainer and manager.
Is it?
South
Okay.
Africans, we have trainers and managers.
Okay.
You know, I think if you hit the international American level and stuff like that, that maybe a discussion will have to come in then. But where I am right now, it's perfect the way it is, eh?
Yeah.
Rodney Berman, the promoter, is also a really good promoter, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. I know you got to run. It's almost 10 past, so let's end it off. I just want to ask you one question that someone put through on Instagram was, if you could choose one fight right now, dream fight, who would you want to fight against?
What a cream fight.
Dream fight.
A dream fight.
Yeah.
It would have to be Canelo Alvarez, eh? You fight Canelo Alvarez, you know, win or lose, he's made such a big name and you become a legend, you know.
Okay.
And even that, I don't think you can fight Canelo in my weight category. You can't fight Canelo Alvarez for under $5 million.
Oh, wow.
You know, that would be like minimum pay.
Yeah.
So yeah, even that alone, after that fight, you know, you can relax for a bit, you know, not forever, but yeah.
Yeah. You can.
So that would
the foot off the gas.
definitely be the dream fight. I'm lucky in my weight category. There's a lot of big names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe you'll know Billy Joe Saunders, Daniel Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez, Triple G. I can go on. I went blank now. That Mexican, I went completely blank. But like my weight category is lots.
Yeah.
So now if we go into Kevin's weight category, name the top cruiserweights. It's Kevin. It's that tall Lawrence Okoli. And that's like really it.
Yeah.
You can have a debatable third. But yeah, that's about it, eh? Yeah.
And you, with your weight class, you're going to just stay there, or you're going to go up or down at some stage?
I think in the future, but I'm going to stay here for as long as I can. But in the future, I will maybe go up, eh?
Is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Listen, man, thanks for your time and for all the insights. It was very cool. And we'll definitely catch up again, chat again soon. Maybe after your next fight, we'll do another one.
Sweet.
To see how that's gone and things.
Cool. Thank you for having me, Nick. It was power, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Rowan.
Lekker, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
Cool.